Hello again, this is Michael Broussard, author and performer of Ask a Sex Abuse Survivor, an interactive theatrical show about my experiences as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. Today I want to talk to you about the Statute of Limitations. Now, sometime last year, I made a trip up to Massachusetts to see my Aunt Jill. My Aunt Jill was very important to me growing up. She was basically the only person that I could talk to about the trauma, the depression, the anxiety, everything I was suffering as a result of the abuse that was committed upon me by my stepfather. And we had this visit, and it was great. It was fantastic. I hadn't seen her in years, and it all came back, and I felt stronger. I felt empowered. That day that we had that visit, I had this great feeling of power, like I could deal with this. Of course, when you're a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, those days, are on and off. They're fleeting. They don't last forever. But that day, I felt fantastic. So I decided that it would be okay to go back and tour some of the sites where the abuse had happened. So my wife and I started driving around town, and we visited the schools where I'd been bullied and took some pictures. We visited the Catholic school where a lot of the abuse by my stepfather had taken place. Finally, we visited the house I used to live in where a lot of the abuse committed by my stepfather over several years had taken place. And the house is falling apart, decrepit. It's collapsing, And sitting on that front porch, taking pictures, looking at the pictures afterward, the thing that struck me was this house is falling apart. This house, is collapsing behind me. This house is weaker than it's ever been, but I'm stronger than I've ever been. I'm rising up while it's falling to dust. And that made me feel really, really good and really strong, So I got home, back home and, just outside Philadelphia. And the first thing I did was, I said, okay, you know what? I'm finally going to prosecute. I finally feel strong enough to prosecute. So I contacted a lawyer, and the lawyer explained to me that I could not prosecute because the statute of limitations had run out. I could not prosecute my stepfather for abusing me sexually as a child. I could not prosecute him for the way he abused other people in the family. I could not prosecute him in any way. I could not prosecute him because of something as ridiculous as the statute of limitations. Now here I am, I'm 53 years old now, right? And it's only been in the last couple of years that I felt strong enough to tell my story and felt strong enough to be public about it and felt strong enough to actually have some happiness sometimes in life. I still deal with all kinds of issues, but sometimes I'm actually happy because of all this hard work I've done for decades to heal. And the fact is, one of the things these abusers do to their victims, to their targets, is they groom them into silence. They traumatize them and groom them and program them in such a way that they can't speak up. So as the years go on, they won't be able to say anything about it. So the abuser can go on and abuse other people. But there's this thing called the statute of limitations that says, you know what? Sorry, too much time has gone by. I know you just got to the point where you can actually stand up in court and face this person, and even that's going to be difficult for you, but you can finally do it after like 30, 40, 50 years, whatever. I know you finally feel that strong, and you finally feel that healed that you can do that, but sorry, no justice for you. Statute of limitations. Statute of limitations. So what's the statute of limitations? The statute of limitations is an attempt to, well, it may not be an attempt to, but certainly the result is that it denies justice to survivors, and it allows predators to keep preying on others because their victims are not able to speak up until it's much too late to prosecute them in a court of law. So essentially, the statute of limitations in every state is a guarantee that predators will be able to continue to prey upon children because no one who is strong enough to stand up to them in court will have that right. The statute of limitations on childhood sexual abuse crimes needs to end in every single state. People need to understand that. People need to, if they care about protecting children, we need to be working on this 24/7. Why? Because if we don't end it, more and more and more children will be abused. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you again soon.